What's up everyone, I'm CallumOnToast, and in today's video the glass cannon roulette wheel is making a return, this time featuring 33 of the most attack weighted Pokemon available for the Great League. And I think each time I do this I'm going to try to add 3 more Pokemon to the roster just to make sure we keep leveling it up each time. Now I did these battles against my subscribers because it's virtually impossible to do this sort of challenge in the Open Great League, but the Great League Remix is making a return later this season. So if this video gets 1,000 likes, I will bring the glass cannon roulette wheel back to the Go Battle League, so make sure you leave a like on the video right now. Now to make these battles a bit fairer and also as entertaining as possible, I asked my subscribers to bring the most random, spiciest team they could put together, so sit back, relax and enjoy the insanely spicy battles. Now just before we get into the battles, let's start with the question of the day. What is the spiciest Pokemon you have ever built for the Go Battle League? Let me know in the comment section down below, and with that being said, let's get into battles now. Alright, so we're going to spin the wheel for the first time, and you can see we do have 33 entries on the wheel. Each time we do get a Pokemon, we are going to remove it from the wheel so we can't get it a second time. The first one is going to be Shadow Sharpedo. We've also got Shadow Mewtwo, and the third Pokemon for the first team is going to be Shadow Gengar. So 3 typical glass cannons that you would think of for the Great League. But into the first battle, we see Shadow Metagross in the lead. This is a really positive matchup. The opponent's going to swap into Shadow Lugia. This is still good for us, but these Dragon Tails are seriously chunking. We go straight for the Crunch here. Crunch gets the debuff, and we can now swap into our Shadow Gengar. I'm going to have to shield a Sky Attack here, but I will be able to go for 2 more Shadow Claws, and I will be able to fully farm down the Lugia. So let's see. The opponent comes in with their third Pokemon. It's going to be a Fire Fang Hippowdon. That is quite scary. We go for a Shadow Ball, grabbing a shield there, but these Fire Fangs are really going to chunk up against our Mewtwo, and Sharpedo is too low in its health to do anything really, apart from potentially be a sacrificial swap. Now here, I hold on to the energy, expecting a catch, and this point I'm thinking, actually Metagross, even though it's going to double resist the Side Strike, is still going to get taken out by a Side Strike, and I do barely live that 1 extra Fire Fang, make it to Side Strike number 2, one-shotting the Hippowdon, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to that trainer, and into the next battle we're going to see the first Pokemon is going to be Pheromosa. So Pheromosa, a Pokemon I typically struggle quite a lot to win with when I do these sorts of challenges. The next Pokemon is going to be Archon, and the final Pokemon on the wheel is going to be Shadow Rampardos. So a bit of an ABB style team there with the double rock in the back, but we lead into another Shadow Metagross. That is really interesting, and the opponent safe swaps into Lugia. I was like, wait, am I facing the same opponent here? That was so weird. Unfortunately, Rampardos is barely not able to get the Smackdown farm down, but we do finally get the farm down there. I'm thinking, okay, we've got a Rock Slide loaded. We could be running Flamethrower. I am actually running Flamethrower. Does the opponent know the counts? They're probably going to use their shield anyway, so we go for the Rock Slide, and the opponent lets that go through. That's resisted damage, but it nearly one-shots them. We come in with Pheromosa, and they've got Shadow Ho-Oh in the back, and oh my gosh, even though we are a Rock type here, I think we might lose this game. Now what I should have done is just gone for a Crunch. Crunch obviously has the chance to debuff their defense, and the opponent is going to continue to overfarm here because they're going to be running Brave Bird. They don't want to debuff their defense as soon as possible, so they actually farm to 100 energy. You're going to see they go for the Brave Bird, and here they have to go for 1 more Incinerate. We nearly get the Wing Attack farm down, so if I went for a Crunch there and got the debuff, I think I would have won that game, but the opponent's able to take me out with a resisted Earthquake, and I do end up losing that game. But that was so funny. That was such a similar team to the first opponent there. But into the next game, we're going to see Shadow Pinsir as the first Pokemon. The second Pokemon is going to be Darmanitan, and the third and final Pokemon for team number 3 is going to be a Zoroark. So let's just get into the battle here. We're going to see our Shadow Pinsir leading into a Shadow Gallade. So this is a fairly okay matchup here. We will be able to go for an X-Scissor just before the opponent makes it to a potential Leaf Blade or a close combat, and X-Scissor one-shots the Gallade. I'm not sure why they didn't shield that up, and now they come in with a Shadow Registeel, which Registeel on its own, not that spicy, but Shadow Registeel, you really don't see an awful lot. We're going to go straight for the close combat, grabbing a shield, and now I save swap into my Darmanitan. The opponent has to throw a charge move here, but we are dealing so much damage with these Incinerates. They go for the Focus Blast, and they've got Shadow Regice in the back, and that is really unfortunate for the opponent, as we can just go straight for Rock Slide, taking out the Regice, and we can just go for the Incinerate farm down, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent. Not a lot they could have done there. Well, I mean, I guess they could have shielded the Gallade, but I don't think it would have helped them in the long run. Into next game, we're going to see a Shadow Banette. I forgot to include that it was Shadow in the roulette wheel, but it is definitely a Shadow Pokemon. Next one's going to be Mean Shao, another Pokemon I typically struggle to get a win with, and the third Pokemon is going to be Shadow Haunchcrow. So going into the battle, we're going to see Arcanine in the lead, so this is okay for us. They are going to be running Fire Fang though, so quite a lot of fast move pressure. I'm going to go for the Shadow Ball straight away. The opponent is going to go for a Psychic Fangs here, but we win the CMP tie, and at this point I might shield this. I might just let it go. I'm actually going to shield this up and then swap into my Mean Shao here, because I figured if they've already got a one fast move pressure Pokemon in the lead, they might have a second or a third one in the back. So I use my shield, we go for a Grass Knot there, and the opponent's able to fully Confusion farm me down. Now, if I didn't shield the Banette, I think I'd be looking pretty good here, but unfortunately we're going to take massive damage from these charge moves. So I'm going to shield the first one coming from the Golduck. The opponent goes for Liquidation. Now at this point I was thinking I have to try and overfarm, but they already make it to another charge move. Now this will not be a Liquidation, but Cross Chop does so much damage there, and here I couldn't quite make it to back-to-back Sky Attacks, so I was hoping I could get the Snarl farm down here and then just double Sky Attack the two Pokemon they had in the back, but they make it to yet another Cross Chop, take out the Haunchcrow, and unfortunately we do lose that game. But GG's there. Into the next battle, we're going to see Kartana as the first Pokemon. The second Pokemon from this team is going to be Shadow Chandelure, and the final Pokemon for this team is going to be the Archeops. So looking fairly okay here. We're going to be going Kartana into Shadow Tyranitar, so an amazing lead for us. The opponent safe swaps into a Overcast form, Overcast Cherrim, and I'm pretty sure this is going to be like a Dazzling Gleam or a Hyper Beam or something. It is the Dazzling Gleam. I actually don't know if we would have lived that, even though it's non-stab. Shadow Chandelure is incredibly glassy. Now here, I make a bit of a mistake. I should have just gone for the extra Incinerate, because you're going to see Smackdown does huge damage, but I get very fortunate to get the new mechanic, meaning I get off a second Flame Charge, and the opponent has no choice really but to let that move go through. Now I anticipate they're going to instantly swap, so I come in with the Archeops, and the opponent has a Wormadam in the back, and it's the Grass and Bug type Wormadam. So we're doing double super effective damage with the wing attacks. I just let the move go through here because I can Razor Leaf, farm them down, and Razor Leaf farm down the Shadow Tyranitar, and I'm able to take that game. So unfortunately, nothing the opponent could have done there. I just fully hard countered their entire team. But into the next game, we're going to see Shadow Cacturn in the lead. The second Pokemon is going to be Regieleki, and the final Pokemon for this team is going to be a Shadow Kadabra. Now I'm going up against Caterpie Queen, and I was like, oh god, they're going to be running a triple bug team. I'm just absolutely sure of it. So that is awful, and it's basically the worst bug type we could see, because they're also going to be resisting the fast move damage from the Regieleki. So I've got really not a lot of options here. We do at least go for a Psy Beam here, and we also CMP tie them, which is best case scenario. I just want to get rid of this damn Parasect, man. This thing is absolutely destroying my team. We're now going to come in with the Regieleki. I'm hoping I can get the Volt Switch farm down, but they already make it to another charge move. Oh my gosh. Cross Poison, going to do quite a lot of damage there. They now come in with a Pheromosa. Luckily for me, they are not running Bug Bite because they wanted coverage for the team. But I go for the Zap Cannon there, debuffing their attack, and can we get the resisted Sucker Punch farm down? It looks like we might be able to do here. But they go for a lunge, they debuff my attack, we do get the farm down, and the final Pokemon is going to be Ribombee, and unfortunately they're going to be resisting everything we can throw. We're going to go for the Grass Knot anyways. That actually does quite a lot of damage there, but they're able to very easily Fairy Wind farm me down and take that game. So GG's there. Into the next battle, we're going to see Shadow Haunter as the first Pokemon. The second Pokemon for this team is going to be a Shadow Magneton, and the final Pokemon for this team is going to be a Shadow Absol. So let's see how this battle goes. So we're going to lead into a Shadow Camerupt, and I'm like, oh my god, this is absolutely awful for me. I'm actually not even going to make it to a Shadow Ball, so I go for an Ice Punch. Honestly, this probably still one-shots them anyway, so we have to settle for the Ice Punch there. We're now going to come in with the Shadow Absol, and this is horrible. We're going to shield this up, but once again, I will not be able to overfarm by an awful lot in this matchup. We're going to go for the Mega Horn. We have to throw it straight away here, otherwise Incinerate will take me out, and the opponent double shields, which is so bad, but they throw straight away, so they won't get an Incinerate through, assuming a second Volt Switch will take them out, and it does take them out. So here, all shields are down. The opponent comes in with a Shift Tree. We're going straight for the Magnet Bomb here. Does this KO? Yes, it does! And the opponent has a Oh, Shadow Donphan in the back. Are you kidding me? Double ground. Does the Magnet Bomb KO this time around? No, it barely doesn't, and they're able to very easily counter, farm me down, and take that game. But GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we're going to see Shadow Excadrill as the first Pokemon. The second one is going to be Shadow Alolan Dugtrio, so a bit of a theme there. And the final Pokemon is going to be the Haxorus. So I will actually swap out the order for this team just because it makes no sense to have the Ground Steel in the lead and in the back. So we're going to run it as an ABB style team. The opponent safe swaps into Nidorino of all Pokemon. And I was thinking here, oh, it's going to be either Horn Attack or Sludge Bomb. But no, it's an Ice Beam. I completely forgot this thing learns Ice Beam, and now we might have just screwed this game over here. We come back in with the Haxorus. Don't want to reveal my third Pokemon just yet, and let's see what the opponent is running. I feel like they're going to run like double poison, and it's a Shadow Grimer. So I'm going to build up to the Earthquake, go for a Breaking Swipe here. Breaking Swipe is going to grab a shield. Unfortunately, no debuff there, but it is what it is. We're going to go for a second Breaking Swipe, grabbing the final shield. Still no debuff, but we can just come in with the Excadrill, and the opponent is going to be running Scratch as the fast move. We go for the Drill Run, easily one-shotting the Apom, and we should be able to quite easily shield, possibly double shield here if they do make it to 2 charge moves, but we can make it to the Drill Run, and this will very comfortably one-shot the Grimer, and I'm able to take that game. But once again, not a lot my opponent could have done up against my team, but GG's there. Into the next game, we're going to see Shadow Alakazam as the first Pokemon. The second Pokemon on the team is going to be a Breloom, so double counter users so far, not really the best combination, but let's see what the final Pokemon is. It's going to be Galarian Darmanitan. So going into the battle here, and we're going to see that I'm running Alakazam in the lead, and I was like, oh god, I should have really swapped the order here because we see a Banette in the lead. That's absolutely awful for me. We're going to go for a Seed Bomb here. Seed Bomb will still do a ton of damage, so we do grab a shield. But honestly, they can just fully Shadow Claw, farm me down, come out with basically 100 energy, and it is not looking good whatsoever. We're going to come in with the Darmanitan. They actually swap into the Houndoom. But fortunately for me, they are at least running Snarl and not Firefang, so they're not completely destroying me here. They go for a Crunch. I was thinking that they were going to throw straight away for the second charge move, so I throw on the CMP time, but they actually don't throw straight away. Now I swap into my Alakazam. We only get off one counter, which is unfortunate. I'm hoping I put them into farm down range. Crunch easily one-shots the Alakazam there. I felt like I just had to sacrifice it since it could do nothing up against the Banette. I will be able to get the farm down though, go straight for an Ice Punch, and this will KO the Banette, but I need something incredibly weak to Ice, and unfortunately they've got a Ursaring running counter as the fast move, and unfortunately we do lose that game there. But GG's to that opponent. Into the next game, we're going to see Shadow Weavile as the first Pokemon for this team. The next Pokemon is going to be Shadow Ghastly. So a very cool pick there. And the final Pokemon for the penultimate team is going to be Shadow Sneasler. So let's see how this battle goes. We're going to see Shadow Weavile into Galarian Zapdos. Are you kidding me? We're going to swap straight away into our Shadow Sneasler. The opponent responds with Gardevoir, but luckily for me, they're running Magical Leaf, which we do actually resist, so I can easily shield this up and fully Shadow Claw farm them down. And now we're actually in a really good position here. Shadow Sneasler's energy is really strong against most Pokemon. The opponent comes in with their own Weavile, which is really cool to see. They've actually got a shiny Shadow. They call the bait there, but Aerial Ace still does so much damage to the opponent. We can now go for Aerial Ace number 2. They fully sacrifice the Weavile. Makes a lot of sense. They're going to trust in their 2 shields and a Galarian Zapdos, but unfortunately I'm going to come in triple resisting the counter damage, and I can just safely shield this up, and I will be able to fully lick farm down a legendary Pokemon with my Shadow Ghastly, and that was absolutely insane. So GG's to that opponent there. And now into the final wheel spin here. We're going to see Attack Form Deoxys. You guys have all been waiting to see it in action. And the other 2 Pokemon here are going to be Shadow Electivire, although I've spelled that horribly wrong in the wheel, but it doesn't really matter. You know what it is. And the final Pokemon is going to be Shadow Hitmonlee. So let's get into the final battle, and by the way, I will have some bonus battles, so don't worry, there's going to be even more here, but we see a bad lead. I'm going to stay in. Initially, I was like, oh, I can just build up to a Psycho Boost, but they're running Bug Bite as the fast move, and that absolutely deleted my Attack Form Deoxys. I'm not going to make it to a charge move, regardless of what I see, so that's really unfortunate. We swap into Electivire, then go for the Drill Run. I'm going straight for the Wild Charge. The opponent makes a nice catch here, but are they going to expect the Wild Charge? No, we one-shot the Magmar, and the opponent then comes in with a Jangmo. Oh, what the heck? I have no idea if this is like level 50 or if it's close or if it's even XL at all, but this is not good for my team. I tried to catch a Dragon Claw there, but the opponent does hold on to the energy. Really smart play. They're going to go for a Dragon Claw, and now here I have to throw straight away basically as they make it to another charge move. Blaze Kick is resisted, but it takes them out. Can I make it to 2 more charge moves? I don't think it's likely here, as the opponent should have quite a lot of residual energy. We go for a Blaze Kick, grabbing the final shield, and we actually make it in time, and I actually messaged this trainer afterwards. They said they were trying to go for the return BM, so they definitely would have won that game, but they were trying to go for the BM, and I respect them for that. But GG's to that opponent there. And now into some bonus battles. I will be revisiting mostly teams that I lost with, but a few other teams as well. We're going to see a Persian in the lead. Now we are resisting the fast move damage here, and these bug bites, they're still not doing that much damage. We're dealing basically the same amount of damage. That is just so embarrassing. We also don't get the full bug bite farm down in time, so I'm actually just going to let Pheromosa go down. We're going to come in with the Archon because I can get slightly more energy, and let's see what the opponent wants to do. They're going to come in with their Shadow Hippowdon. I'm going to overfarm, go for a crunch just before they make it to a potential Weather Ball or Body Slam, and they let it go through. That does huge damage to the Hippowdon. We're now going to let this move go through, trust in my Shadow Rampardos, and there is a Zapdos in the back, and oh my god, look at the smackdown damage. That was insane, and we're able to smack down, farm down the Hippowdon, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to the opponent there. Into the next game, we're going to see Shadow Banette into Shiny Shadow Poliwhirl. So very cool pick from the opponent. We are going to go straight for a Shadow Ball here. The opponent is going to choose to overfarm, play to the CMP tie, which they do not win. Shout out to Home Size Henry for that phrase. And we are going to just let this move go through here, as the opponent is going to go for a Mud Bomb bait. We actually live that, so I'm going to swap into my Mean Shao, shield this up. Unfortunately, I feel like they're still going to be able to outpace me to the next charge move, but the opponent's going to swap into their Shiny Shadow Arbok, which is a really cool looking Shiny Shadow. I'm going straight for the Stone Edge, and we one-shot the Arbok from basically full health. And let's see what the opponent wants to do. They are going to come in with a Shiny Shadow Pinsir, so triple Shiny Shadows. You love to see it. We make it to a Grass Knot. This is resisted damage, but it should be grabbing the final shield from the opponent. So at this point, I'm going to let the Mean Shao go down. They also CMP tie, which is great for me. And now here, we can come in with the Horn Stroke. I've got to look for a catch from the opponent. They're going to throw straight away here, and I expect them to swap out immediately into their Poliwhirl, and they do exactly that. Now, I couldn't remember how much energy they had, so I tried to swap and catch my own, but unfortunately, I'm not able to do so. They hold onto the energy, but we did have a Sky Attack banked, so we throw it straight away, and I do outpace this Shiny Shadow Pinsir to the Sky Attack number 2, and Sky Attack takes out the Pinsir, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to the opponent there. Into the next game, and luckily no bug type in the lead for us this time around. And actually we're going to be resisting the Astonish damage from the opponent, and I think this Pokemon can learn like Disarming Voice. So I'm going to use my shield here, but they go for a Crunch, going for the debuff. They don't get the debuff, and now they swap into a Fletchinder here, and honestly should have just swapped into my Regieleki straight away, but I go for a Dynamic Punch, hoping I can now farm them down, but I'm barely not able to do so, and that is really not good for me. I will tank the fly, but I'm not going to make it to a charge move, so that is really not good for my Regieleki. They can just Astonish, farm me down. Now what I didn't want them to do is then Astonish, farm down my Cacturn as well, so I actually come in with the Kadabra, and these Astonishes are doing a lot more damage than I was expecting them to do. They also get a Crunch debuff, come in with their Bonsly, and they can just fully counter, farm down my Shadow Kadabra, even though we are resisting the counter damage, the non-stab counters by the way, and they can just fully counter, farm down the rest of my team, and unfortunately we lose yet again with that team. So I think that's probably the worst team out of all the teams that I had. But into the next game, we see Mr. Mime in the lead. This time I'm going to be running Darmanitan in the lead because I've got my 2 counter users in the back, and I am very happy I made that swap. Now the opponent swaps into the Exploud, and once again we can come in with the Breloom here, just go for the full counter farm down. Once again I shield, and it's just a Crunch bait there, but they also get the debuff this time around, so I actually don't think I'm going to be able to make it to 2 Seed Bombs here, because Confusion is going to do absolutely huge damage in this matchup. So we get the shield with the Seed Bomb, and they do take me out straight away with that second Confusion. Now I think I've got a charge move loaded on my Darmanitan, but we go for one extra Ice Fang. We throw the Ice Punch here, and Ice Punch should be grabbing the final shield from the opponent, and the opponent is going to swap out there, bank the energy, but big mistake from the opponent because I'm using 3 of the most attack-weighted Pokemon in all of Pokemon Go. I will be able to win CMP against basically anything I see on my opponent's end, and we can go for the Shadow Ball, winning the CMP tie. They had like basically 100 energy, but it doesn't matter. We take out the Mr. Mime, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into next game we see Attack from Deoxys into Shadow Hitmonlee. So a much better lead for us this time around, not taking super effective damage, but the opponent swaps. They try to catch a resisted Psycho Boost, but I hold onto the energy. I'm thinking I should live a Body Slam or a Rock Slide. They go for the Rock Slide, that's resisted damage, and we can just barely get the double kick farm down. I'm going straight for the close combat here, no point going for that Blaze Kick. Close combat grabs a shield from the opponent. Now this one I'm thinking I might as well come in with my Attack from Deoxys, just go straight for the Psycho Boost here, as this should be grabbing the final shield, and then I feel like my Shadow Electivire should be able to sweep in the end game. I'm not going to throw straight away here. The opponent swaps into their Hitmonlee, and I think an Ice Punch will KO from this range, so I go for the Ice Punch, taking out the Hitmonlee. They're going to throw here, but I've still got 2 shields remaining, so they might as well try and commit to the Smackdown Farm Down, but either way, it's not going to happen. We make it to the Wild Charge, and Wild Charge easily one-shots the Boldore, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next battle, we can see Shadow Haunter into Masquerain. Now this is a pretty good matchup. I think they've only got bug type fast moves, but they swap into Zeb Striker. So I'm going to go for an Ice Punch immediately, and then I will swap into my Shadow Magneton here. And the awkward thing is that the opponent is probably going to be running Flame Charge, which will boost their attack. So going to shield the first one. It is a Flame Charge. That's going to do huge damage if we let it go through. So we have to shield. We're now going to go for a Magnet Bomb here. I thought about trying to go for the Farm Down, but honestly, even if they only made it to a Wild Charge there, that would still easily one-shot me, so I had to use my shield. The opponent then comes in with a Shadow Manectric, so this is scary for my backline. We're going to go for the Magnet Bomb, grabbing the final shield from the opponent, and the opponent tried to catch a Magnet Bomb there, but we didn't quite have it. So now I'm going to go for a Discharge, undercharging it, and now I'm going to swap into my Haunter, go for the snipe with the Shadow Claw damage, and now can we get to an Ice Punch? We can get there in time, and this Ice Punch will be enough damage to take out the Manectric, and I'm able to take that game. And now going into, I believe, the final battle of this video, we see Sharpedo into Sork. Now this is a fighting type, but they're going to be running Poison Jab as the fast move and Body Slam as the charge move. They might run Focus Blast as well, but it's going to take ages to get there. And now here, my opponent's going to be really smart. Swap, catch the move, knowing that I'm going to try and throw on CMP, and they catch a resisted Side Strike onto their shiny Jinx, which is a cool flex, by the way. We're now going to go for the Side Strike number 2, taking out the Jinx immediately, and the opponent comes in with the shiny Shadow Pinsir. So I'm actually going to come in with my Sharpedo here, dealing huge fast move damage, forcing the opponent to throw their energy. At this point, I think I've put them into range where I can just fully Shadow Claw, farm down the Pinsir, and I should just be able to Shadow Claw, farm down the Sork, and I'm able to take that game. So that's going to be it for today's video. If you did enjoy it, please make sure you leave a like, leave a comment letting me know, and as well, don't forget to respond to the question of the day if you haven't done so already. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications. That way you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. But with that being said, thank you all so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.